Hello, everyone. I'm Adam with Demiplane. Thank you for joining me for this week's development update and community Q&A session. Today's lineup, as always, we're going to talk about latest updates, what we have currently been working on for the last week since I spoke to you last. We are also going to do a giveaway today. This is going to be the fantastic Alien RPG from Free League. We are going to give away a core book and the Colonial Marines source book, which is a fantastic supplement for the game. We are currently working on Destroyer of Worlds. We hope to have it in really, really soon. I'll talk about that in a little while. But these are the first two books that we have up for Alien right now, and you can win them today. Pay attention to the prompts in chat. Then we will talk about what is on deck, what we are going to work on after we finish what's currently on the plate. And then, as always, you can ask me anything, and that does mean anything. I answer anything that I can answer, and you can do that by typing the word question in chat and follow it by the question itself. I am going to try to get out of here promptly on time today because my wife is cooking Brussels sprouts in there, and I smell them, and I'm already getting hungry. So we're going to see if we can get through today. I think I can make it. All right, let's talk about latest updates at the platform level. Today or tomorrow is what this is looking like. After we put the new login system in place a few weeks ago, we are seeing some issues with the frequency at which you need to re-log in, and so this is a problem. It's irritating me at this point in time. So this has been a P1 issue for us, and we're working through it. Lots and lots of nuts and bolts go into everything that happens with logging in. And so we believe that we've identified this issue, and that fix should be going out again. Fingers crossed for today. If not today, definitely by tomorrow is what we're looking at. So we'll keep an eye on that, make sure that everything is fixed the way that it needs to be fixed there. On the Pathfinder Nexus front, tomorrow, so that's actually tonight at, let me think about the time. So it is midnight Pacific time. We've got our release for Gatewalkers, the second installment of that, and then also Treasure Vault. So Treasure Vault's massive. It is a massive tome of all kinds of goodness. I love these kinds of books. So books, I remember the Arms and Equipment Guide and a variety of other things in previous editions of D&D. I love taking those books and just looking at the stuff and making a wish list. It almost makes me feel like like the Sears wish books catalogs back when I was a kid, and I saw that big spread of the Ninja Turtles or GI Joe, and it's like, oh, there's the headquarters, and I've got to have that headquarters. Mom, will you please get me that headquarters? Will you tell Santa that I've been a really good boy where I can get the GI Joe headquarters for Christmas? So that's how I feel when I read something like Treasure Vault, and I want it for all of my characters, and I think you will too. So check that one out. That is coming out tonight, super, super late for us here in Central Time, but we'll be getting that up tonight. And then on the Character Tools closed alpha, I've got some more detailed notes here in a moment, but we've got some fixes and feedback incorporation for spells that went in last week. I think that happened. And we are currently working on mobile and responsive use. So up to this point, we have not done anything with mobile. And so a good bit of the feedback, and we get it. We completely understand. I open emails on my phone, and I go directly to a link on my phone all the time. One of the things that if you do that with an alpha invite from us is you're going to get a really, really busted up experience with the Character Tools alpha right now, because we haven't taken a look at all at any kind of what is called responsiveness in the development world, but making sure that whatever those screens are, that they work on any kind of screen size. We haven't done any of that work yet, but we are starting some of that work now, and you can expect to see some updates on that before too much longer, and that is going to dramatically improve the accessibility of everything that's going on with character tools. And of course, this is one thing in many that we're going to be working on as we try to make everything get to the level of polish that we expect to have. So we set very high expectations for ourselves, and that level of polish is really non-negotiable for us before we would ever put this out into a public beta. And so everything that's going on in the alpha right now is marching toward that level of polish. And so mobile and responsive use is a big part of that we're currently working on. We're very excited. I just left a meeting where we were talking about the Avatar Legends Nexus character tools. And I can't wait for you to see how all of that is coming together for both Avatar Legends and Vampire. So really, really exciting stuff. It is really rewarding to be able to see this. We kind of internally sometimes affectionately refer to it as a dark tunnel with the development with Pathfinder, because Pathfinder is a beast of a rules system that we have piloted here for the character tools on the Nexus platform. And it's really rewarding to see that all of the work that has been going on there as the platform itself is starting to coalesce here to a degree, moving into what that second and third game will be, to see that, okay, hey, we're on to something here. And this works. That is always a really rewarding part of the process. And so really excited to see that come together. I'm even more excited for you to get to see it before too much longer as well. Alien RPG Nexus, we have submitted Destroyer of Worlds to Free League. Hope to have some more news on that one soon. And for that one to be available, it's been available out there for pre-order right now. But before too much longer, you should be able to get that in your hands digitally as well. All right, it is going into the Character Tools Closed Alpha update notes. So like I said, the update that is going to be this afternoon or tomorrow morning, whenever that release goes out, we are expecting the something to address the login frequency issue. But then also on the character side, we do have another pass of performance improvements that are going in. This time is a little more focused on character builder response times. And based on what we were seeing this morning, it's pretty significant. So we're going to continue to peel the banana and get to a point where performance is at that acceptable high threshold for us. And so this is another round of those improvements, and you should see a difference in the alpha as you're in there kicking the tires. Spell updates, we've increased the number of results available in the add spells drawer, so we're trying to get as much information into the real estate we have as possible. Updated the spell display drawers to include spell attacks and spell saves, so naturally this is a really important piece. That's a big one that should be in there in the next build. You are going to see that the content itself is not 100% done on some of these. So you might add a spell that's going to show a 0 when it shouldn't be. Those are all things that we are aware of. We're getting the skeleton in place first, and then we're going to load up all the muscle and sinew and skin and all the stuff that goes on top of it. That was a weird analogy. Sorry about that. Updated innate spellcasting attack and save calculations as well. Then on top of that, we've got some class updates that are going on. So Chirurgeon can now be selected as an Alchemist class option for the Cleric. The Harm and Heal Divine Font class features can now be expanded without crashing the character builder. That's always a good thing. So thanks for helping us track down that bug. Investigator, we resolved some issues where skill increases were not applying skill proficiencies appropriately. Then on the sorcerer side, elemental genie and worm blessed bloodlines were crashing things as well. That should be addressed if you're playing a sorcerer. And on the swashbuckler side, resolved an issue with stylish tricks, which is one of my favorite feature names, stylish tricks, not being able to be unlocked. That should be good to go with this next build. And then the issue with the Eternal Confidence, which is another one of my favorite feature names. Swashbuckler is one of my favorite classes. Class feature not displaying information, so that should be good to go too. We're going to continue to address a lot of those minor issues where we don't have something quite set up right in the game content itself. Tweaking dials is what a lot of that's going to be, and we're going to be continuing to focus on that in parallel to moving some of these bigger rocks down the development. So making progress on those fronts, that will be available in the next build that should be later today, and if not today, by tomorrow. All right, let's do a giveaway. So hashtag epic loot. You've probably already been doing this in the chat, but hashtag epic loot and follow the prompts there to possibly win an Alien RPG core book and the Colonial Marines Operations Manual. And again, this is one of my favorite games out there right now. I've got there's a convention coming up here in Huntsville, the Huntsville Pop Culture Expo that is happening in April, I believe, and I am slated to run a couple of Alien sessions, and I can't wait for that because it is such a great game, especially for a one shot. It is just very ideally suited for one shot play and convention play. So looking forward to that. But yeah, good luck. Hopefully you win. You probably hear Bandit barking about something. Our yard is infested with rabbits right now, and rabbits are like what is it, like catnip for a cat. Rabbits are like that for a beagle, and he loses his mind. All right, upcoming Pathfinder character tools closed alpha. As we have been doing, we're going to be typically prioritizing fixes over features all the way on the road to open beta. So as those breaks and those bugs come up, we put those into the list, and a lot of times they go to the top of the list where we can kind of clean things up, and then we're in parallel working on those features. We've got some new book coverage that's going to be coming soon. So far in the builder, you're mostly seeing the Advanced Player's Guide and the core rule book for Pathfinder. We've got Lost Omens content that is very, very close to ready to go. We're trying to get everything buttoned up and ready there, but that one's going to be close. I mentioned the mobile and tablet views that we're starting to do a little bit of work on now. We have some big ones with Homebrew, companions and familiars on the way. We're going to get currency, the ability to track that in place. So that's kind of the short list for what we've got when it comes to what's coming for the alpha on the road to the open beta. If you missed it, last week we announced the 5e Nexus, that early access is coming this spring. We're really excited about this one. I believe that 5e has proven itself to be an incredibly popular game system that has had just maximum extensibility. So many people are making content that is 5th edition content, and we want to provide a great open playground for publishers, third-party publishers, and independent creators to be able to host their entire new games. So for instance, like Kobo Press with Project Black Flag, we've got other potential partners that we're talking with now. We'll have more news on what those publishers, who those publishers are, and what we're going to be supporting as we get closer to early access. But if you want to sign up for updates for that, you can go to 5enexus.com and do that. Game content side, Lost Omens Firebrands and Rage of Elements are out there on deck. We've got the Vampire Player's Guide. It's up for pre-order right now. This one is going to be such a great resource, being able to combine all of the character information from all of the clans across. Right now, they're kind of spread out across multiple products, but being able to have that all consolidated in one place, this is going to be a really, really valuable supplement. Plus, new things are coming in this. So just kind of a must-have if you play Vampire. And then, as I mentioned before, we're going to be working on Heart of Darkness and Chariot of the Gods, and we will be caught up on Alien once we get through those couple. But those are the things that are on deck. All right, let's jump to questions. I see some coming in, several coming in. So we will jump through these as quickly as possible. I got plenty of time, so if you haven't asked a question yet, feel free to jump in there with a question. So, Pitchulrix, sorry if I messed that one up. Are y'all scaling up? So much cool stuff in the works. So that is a great question, and we're making a couple of hires. We're already pretty late in the process there. We've got a couple of hires, I think, that are currently going on. And outside of that, we're not scaling up yet. Really, we kind of did some of that scaling up earlier in order to make this platform. And we are kind of testing our hypothesis about once the platform's in place, is it really going to be spinning up a new game in this character builder and digital sheet? Is that really going to be a matter? Are we going to talk in units of weeks like we believe that we're going to be able to? Or is it going to be, months, like obviously this first one with the pilot of Pathfinder? I believe so far, based on what I'm seeing, I believe that our hypothesis is going to hold. And so, we're going to see how all of that shakes out before we determine what the staffing plan is. But either way, we're definitely going to staff based on, making sure that we can get done what needs to get done. It's always a wonderful, wonderful problem to have when you are running a business. If you are growing, to be able to staff to meet that growth. So that's definitely a fun part of it. Lucky Charm Quart, what's the logo on your cap? Oh, this is the Dallas Mavericks. I'm a big NBA fan. I'm a huge Luka Doncic fan. I also love, probably the biggest fan of the Milwaukee Bucks because I love Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's just got such a great attitude. Everyone, he just goes out there and plays hard. He's got a great attitude about it. He's not, kind of a diva out there playing like too many NBA players are these days. Anyway, I won't talk about the NBA here, but big NBA fan. So this is the Dallas Mavericks. All right. Haiku, what do you have with your sprouts? So today, I believe it is actually going to be some New York strip. I think that she is in there doing New York strip. And that should tell you how much I like Brussels sprouts because I mentioned those before the steak. And I love steak. And so I am a huge, huge fan of Brussels sprouts. Anytime I see that they're available at a restaurant, I order them always, at least to try them. So big, big fan. All right, the Despair Bear. That's a chilling username there. When are you hiring me to help bring all this amazing stuff to life? I kid, unless. Real question. What's your favorite vampire clan? As I mentioned before, we're not actively hiring right at the moment, but as we continue along and as those staffing needs come up, we will broadcast that if we're looking for talent. So keep an eye here and our social media accounts and everywhere else if you're interested in that. And we love the interest. So it's definitely a wonderful industry to make a jump into if you're able to. And then the real question, what's your favorite vampire clan? This one's interesting. I always reserve the right to, have different answers for this depending on the different seasons of my life I will put out there. So that's what I say about my favorite dinosaur, for instance. My favorite movie, probably changes. So I would say that at least right now, I would say that my favorite is going to be the Gangrel clan, probably Gangrel. And I don't know if that's because I'm in a mode where I just want to move to the country and have a lot of land to let my loud dogs just roam, or what. But we'll say Gangrel right Ukaiku, if you can answer any plans to add mage to your World of Darkness game. So I can't, answer that directly because I don't actually have any info about it. But what I can tell you is we will be interested in supporting anything that the World of Darkness team puts out for V5 and everything that they're working on. So as we've already shared, we are going to support Vampire the Masquerade, Hunter the Reckoning, and of course Werewolf. Whenever it is available. This is not in any way me saying anything about whether Mage is going to be on that list or not, because the truth is I genuinely don't know. But if there ever was something like that, we're going to be very interested in it. Supporting older editions is not in the short-term roadmap for us, at least at this point in time. And I think it would take a lot for that to probably change. But if it ever happened, for a V5, it's something that we are going to be interested in supporting. Exoloot for the Pathfinder 2E Nexus. I have noticed that there are no ways to raise a shield or to easily see shield hardness, HP, and all the shield related information. Have you considered to have the shield information front center like AC? Yeah, and I can stop reading there and tell you that on an earlier screen that we showed there is something I think about shield mechanics on there, and that is exactly what that is talking about. So we've got shield mechanics. We've had that conceptualized and designed and ready to develop for some time, and I think it's getting pretty close. It's on the short list for things that we are going to address. But yes, it is going to be up in that AC area. It's going to allow you to see all of the statistics for your shield. It's going to allow you to adjust the hit points and everything else that you need to for the shield. Now, as far as raising a shield goes, that is something that at least initially is going to be kind of a table stakes thing that you're going to do. You're going to have all the information there. You can apply that on the fly. Once we get to the point where we are doing temporary effects, so this is going to range from in the beginning, it's going to range from things like being able to mark, raise a shield, and then that reflect changes. And then in that active effects area of the character sheet, you're going to see a, shield raised, call out that's something that's going on for you at the moment. That same section is going to allow you to mark a condition. And then if that is a bad condition, it's going to show up in red there. And it's going to actually dynamically change the elements on your sheet that it would impact. And that's going to be available there. And you can basically, turn those off and on, and it will impact the sheet. So that's something that that is not going to be ready for open beta. That's going to be one of the first things that we go into as the open beta gets out there. And this is going to then expand into things like rage, that you can use rage, and then any changes would be reflected, and you would have an active raging effect on your character. It's in the future, where I really want to see this go, and it is a place that we will get to, at least eventually, is I can go to dinosaur form, and I can cast that spell, and I can choose the Tyrannosaur form, and whatever I chose there is going to be reflected on the sheet, and it's also going to show that I am actively now in dinosaur form for the Tyrannosaur. So that kind of stuff is coming. In the short term, shield mechanics are going to be a place where you can see everything you need to about your shield right there in that armor class section. And it's going to allow you to track things that you need to with the shield, like the broken, threshold and all those things, the hit points, all of that will be there. And I would say that that is on the short-term roadmap for that to hit the alpha. Ordnav3, can you comment if Demiplane will get a Nexus for Project Black Flag from Kobold Press? So the way that will work is Project Black Flag from Kobold Press will be one of the first publishers that we will have on 5e Nexus. So 5e Nexus is where the output Project Black Flag is going to live, and we'll share more about that as we get a little closer to early access. Kendrick the Red, apologies if this has already been asked 100 times before. That's totally okay. Get that all the time. But does working with Free League mean the One Ring 2E maybe in the future? Unfortunately, I can't answer that one. I can tell you that it is currently not one of our licensed articles that we can use in our agreements, and that's due to it's not Free League, but it's their licensor that they're working with is not down with the digital aspects of that. If that ever changes, then yes, we will jump in there very, very quickly. Dave Jokovic, if there's not a nexus for a particular game system that I'd like to see, is it more beneficial to make that known to Demiplane or to the publisher? Honestly, probably both. We definitely want to hear about what people would like to see. So feel free to share that wherever you can find us. But, a lot of times the publisher does need to know that. Now, I can tell you that we are already talking with a lot of publishers out there. We haven't publicly announced everyone that is going to be coming to Demiplane and to a Nexus, but yeah, definitely don't be afraid to share that information with either. Cato Flex, what are you looking forward to most in 5e Nexus? That is a great question. This is going to be a highly personalized response because I could absolutely say that I am looking forward to the creativity that's going to be on display. I'm looking forward to that open playground and providing a place for these third-party publishers to be able to truly shine and for those games to have nice things, because that's been a personal goal of mine for literally years. And so really, really happy to say that. But I think on an even more personal level, I'm looking forward to being able to tackle the 5th edition rules in a platform that is in many ways able to be a second chance at understanding where pitfalls came around the first time around, and being able to avoid those pitfalls hopefully, and make something that's more powerful, more flexible. So personally, I'm really looking forward to being able to sink our teeth into it for that reason. All right, Artemis Themp, will pre-order Light Treasure Vault be available? And then you give me numbers that I don't understand very well because I'm really bad with time zones. So I apologize. That's a gap in my understanding. But what I can say is that we will start the process of pushing it live, which, most of the time that process just takes a few minutes. If something, goes wrong, it can take a little bit longer than that. But we will start that at, it will be right around midnight, like 5 minutes before midnight tonight, which would be 2 a.m. Central, which is many of us are in the Central time zone. So it's sometime a little bit before 2 a.m. Central. And whatever that translates to on the time zones is when that will be live. So hopefully that gives you enough specificity to know. In Varus Avalon, does sharing work across multiple nexuses? 5e expat here, just invested in Pathfinder 2e and looking forward to 5e Nexus as well. So if you are talking about content sharing, then yeah, that is very much the point of content sharing when it comes to Demiplane membership. And it's one of the things that we are very excited about, is that you can come here for Pathfinder, but you can also get all up in some Vampire and Hunter and Marvel Multiverse and the Free League games that we're supporting, 5e Nexus when it comes. All of those things are content sharing as part of a Demiplane membership. Is going to be sharing that content with up to 24 individuals that you choose to share with. And yes, they will be able to have all of the content any of the content that you have unlocked across all of Demiplane, that is available and usable by content sharing. All right. Ordinav 3, Quiet Life or Blaze of Glory. Um, let's see. I'm not familiar. I might need a little more context there. Okay, so this is just like the general on the surface is what Josh is telling me in my ear. Would I prefer to live a quiet life or go out in a blaze of glory? I believe I believe that I am going to be burdened with a desire for a quiet life. So I'm going to always yearn for that. But I believe that I cannot resist the blaze of glory. So I think that I'm constantly going to pine for and talk about wanting a quiet life and wishing and trying to fool myself into thinking that it's going to happen. But blaze of glory is how it's going to happen. So that's what I'll say to that. Oh, got it. Cyberpunk 2077. Nice, nice, good. Not very, very familiar with that game. I have always wanted to play both the RPG and the computer game, but when the computer game came out, I didn't have anything that would run it, and so I haven't got caught up to that yet. The Mala J, will 5e Nexus be launching with just the SRD, or will there be other content at launch? There will definitely be other content we're not ready to talk about yet, mainly because we just haven't made the final decision yet on what other content will be available, but it will certainly have the SRD, and it will have, we'll say at least one publisher's content also involved in what's going on there. All right, I got a few more, and I'm going to try to push through where I can get to my Brussels sprouts, aka Kira, for the character tool. What are some tips on how to report issues or questions? This is a good question, and I think that as far as tips go, the honest truth right now, and this is going to be me being very, very transparent with you, like I do, is the honest truth is at this stage in the alpha, we really have about as much feedback as we feel like we need. Now, that's not to say that it's not going to be useful for us to track down some super rare bug in a weird scenario that we haven't seen before. Those are always great to report. But the truth is, we have received the feedback that we are needing to see in the alpha, and now we just have work to do to respond to that feedback and to get the things done that we need to get done. One of the reasons that we are continuing to invite people into the alpha, because honestly, we probably wouldn't be motivated to do that much at this stage because we just had mountains of feedback. We have what we need, but we still get a lot of questions and a lot of interest in people wanting to get into the alpha, even with all the disclaimers that I put out there about how unfinished it is and how unpolished it is. So truly, those invites are continuing to come, and we add new waves because there's just excitement out there about people wanting to play with it, and so we are allowing that to happen. But at this stage in the alpha, we really have most of the feedback that we think is going to be qualitative and even quantitative to a large degree that has informed our decision making and the things that we need to know. And so one thing I would say is, if you are in the alpha and you are inclined to report something is not working very well, that the performance of it is really abysmal, then by all means save your time and your energy, because we definitely know that, and we, by the way, we knew that one going in, but just to save you time, we don't need those kinds of things reported at this stage. The things that we have really ultimately been looking for in the alpha is, hey, this flow, when I make this kind of choice, this process, this flow that's going on here, it's not really working for me because I think that it's it would be a lot better if this happened or this other thing happened. That's the kind of feedback that has been and is really helpful to us here while we're in the alpha. But it's kind of like there are times where I feel a little bit badly. I try to remember that, like, hey, we've tried to blast this on all of the communications that have gone out. We have a blasted thing that shows up every time you log into the builder that's got my face on it that says, hey, this thing is very unfinished. Enter at your own risk. You're going in here to break things. Which, by the way, it's on the list to allow you to dismiss that and for it to keep up with the fact that you have done that. But with all of that messaging, we've tried to say, hey, we're not looking for feedback about this thing's broken, that thing's broken, or this performance is bad. We're definitely at this stage not looking for, hey, this doesn't work on my phone or whatever. Those are things that we know about that are just things on the list for us to go and address. But so I feel bad sometimes when I see people spending time reporting those issues. Because again, for the most part, we have what we need there. So that's one thing I can tell you, that if you're in the alpha and you're reporting those kinds of things, that ground is well covered at this stage. If you have feedback that is about, like, hey, the way that you choose and prepare spells isn't working for me, and especially if you have feedback about how you think it could work for you, those are things that are really, really valuable to us at this point. Now, possibly at the last part of the alpha, and we will signal this very clearly when we're getting to a point where we feel like we're about, we're ready to start considering flipping things over to the public in the open beta. We're probably going to change that messaging, and we're going to say, hey, if you find a bug in a random place, or hey, if something is not working performance wise in this other place, let us know all the things, and we'll definitely get to that point at some stage in the testing here. But as it stands right now, we are looking for that impressional and more like high level system and flow feedback. And so, honestly, that's the best thing to do. As far as questions go, questions can come really in any of the forms. We watch the forums, we watch Discord, any of those places, perfectly fine to ask those questions there. And I think, we've demonstrated that we get to those pretty quickly, and we're happy to answer anything that we can answer. All right, couple more here. Colin BDA, can you share any high-level timeliness for the beta Pathfinder functions like the character builder, when they might be coming to other nexuses? Super high level, I can say that we want to have 3 games supported and available for people out there to use, roughly the first half of this year. So that's an internal, timeline that we're working on. Definitely not ready to, publicly draw a line in the sand on any of that, but that's how we're thinking about things and what we want to see. Artemis Themp, how would Adam Bradford's stat block look like in a Pathfinder 2E game? Oh man, that would be a rabbit hole that I just don't feel like going down right now. So I'm sorry that I'm skipping your question, but one of these days I might have time to dig into that one a little bit further. AKA Kira, will there be more language options in the future? Definitely don't have any news or updates to report on that right now, but definitely not saying that it's never going to happen. Absolutely not saying that. Generally, we are going to try to support our publishing partners. And so if publishing partners are putting a focus on foreign language translations, then that is something that we would be interested in figuring out ways to support those publishers as they do those initiatives. So that means that there's definitely a possibility that will happen in the future. Eric, are there plans for homebrew? Absolutely. Homebrew is an essential, vital requirement, and it will be a big part of what we do here. It will be something that we will be getting into before the open beta. It might not, the first phase of it is going to happen prior to open beta, which lets you do some kind of on sheet, more ad hoc kinds of home brewing. but then a full system is the first thing that we will work on as the open beta kicks off. Rex Verity, what is the best where to turn into, and why is it a were dinosaur? Yeah, I mean, you know, definitely where dinosaurs would be very, very epic. But if we're going a little bit more classic, I'm just going to have to say a werebear, because werebears are. I just remember reading The Hobbit the first time and meeting Bjorn, and just I don't even know. Little Adam lost his mind and thought it was the coolest thing ever. And I like honey a lot, so probably going with werebear, and hopefully the werebear doesn't come across any bags of narcotics in the mountainsides. All right, last question here. Exolute, you say it will come with temporary effects. Is this something that would be more prioritized in your development? I'm asking because I followed your dev streams DDB in that progress, and I believe temporary effects are not out there yet, even though it had been in talks since a whole before you left that team. Sorry, I'm bad at reading here. Not trying to give anybody a hard time. I just feel that temporary effects are a big part of a good play experience. I definitely agree, and I believe in that past life. There were many factors beyond my control that prevented that vision to coming to fruition. And the great thing is, in this new situation, I have intentionally joined in on a situation where I can eliminate a lot of those issues that prevented that ability to make that happen. So yeah, got a clear playing field, and we absolutely have built the entire platform on the idea that temporary effects are going to be a thing, and a big part that of it taking as long as it has for us to get to this point, even with Pathfinder, has been us making sure that we're laying the groundwork for things like temporary effects to exist. So yeah, I understand that nothing that can be said right now is going to be too meaningful until the proof is in the pudding. But we all going to be eating some pudding. Looking forward to it. All right. That is all the questions. Thanks everyone for joining me today. We do have a new episode of Children of Arete tonight. It's going to be great. Don't miss it at 6 p.m. Pacific. Otherwise, I will catch you here next week. I think next week is the end of the month. So a lot of times at the end of the month, I like to do far more question focused streams. And so if you didn't get to ask questions today, feel free to bring those for next time. We'll catch you later. Later, Gators.